Hello and welcome back to another debrief with Misty and I. For those of you that have been following or have not been following, we are debriefing chapters from the book Ask and It Is Given, written by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And so this chapter that we will be debriefing today is chapter 20, titled Trying to Hinder Another's Freedom Always Costs You Your Freedom. So there's a lot of amazing things that this chapter has, and I'll highlight and I'll kind of talk about some of my highlights here. But excuse me, one of the main things that I learned here is control. What it truly means to want to have control, right? Because control, trying to have control over things, it's not so much trying to have an easier uh life. It's actually seen as a sense of insecurity, and I can totally understand that now. And the reason it's seen as a sense of insecurity is because you're not in alignment, you're not in harmony with who you are and where you want to go in terms of your desires. So you're now then focusing and putting energy on controlling everybody else around you to try to give you that advantage to get to where you do want to go. But unfortunately, it's that insecurity that's causing you to control things that is not taking you to that desired promised land that you are creating in your mind. It's because we're putting the energy elsewhere, thinking that other things need to be fixed before I can. And it's like, no, I can the moment I focus, right? So I wanted to talk about that because I know that one of my challenges has been control. I feel like it's been control for such a long time that I understand it's a defense mechanism and sort of like a toxic trait. It is a very toxic trait, because there's so many things that I cannot control that I find myself sometimes like hyperventilating in this shit because I just don't even know what the hell to do with all the thoughts and the stories that are being made up in my head, right? So it's basically saying to me that in order for your freedom to not cost you, you have to uplift someone else. That is sort of the opposite of what I am understanding here. It's like give so much love, give so much joy, be so resourceful, be so open to giving of yourself. And that in turn will get you closer. Because if it says here, trying to hinder someone else's freedom is always going to cost you yours, then what is the opposite? Right? What is the opposite? And whatever is the opposite to you, that's exactly what this chapter is about. Whatever is the opposite to that title is what this chapter is about. And one of the things that I really like that it talks about here is that it talks about selfishness. And it basically says that the reason that they talk about selfishness is because I have it somewhere highlighted. Come on, come on, come up, come up. It's not coming up. But they talk about selfishness because they're talking about we are ourselves cannot give to ourselves or to other people, or even our desire, that appropriate alignment and those, a good feeling thoughts, if we don't think about ourselves. We have to be selfish. We have to be selfish and figure out what brings us joy. Not selfish in terms of I'm going to take from another man's plate, but selfish in terms of this is the 10 minutes that I have only to myself, uninterrupted, where I have the perfect opportunity to say meditate or journal or whatever the case may be. Those are non-negotiables because that is how you're going to fill up your tank within those 10 minutes, right? That is a non-negotiable, that is a selfish and okay opportunity to say no, not right now. And I know that for me, I do get depleted. I'm the type of person that I give and I give and I give, and it's just so natural for me to give. But then all of a sudden, I find myself super exhausted, and I'm like, why am I so tired? I haven't been working out. I different, but it's my soul's energy. I'm giving, and my mind is like, dude, when are you going to give me? When are you going to replenish me? When are you going to stop making, a dinner every single night? When can it be that one night that dinner is made for you, or that you ordered takeout, and it could still be within your diet restrictions or whatever the case may be? But that is giving myself that self-love, right? And that's giving myself that selfishness to say, not today, because I am burnt out and today's okay if I want to lay back. So, then I guess one of the things that I will say is, once you are aware of the power of your thoughts and your ability to allow in the thing that you desire, you then have creative control of your experience. So here we go, being aware of the power of your thoughts and of your ability to allow in the things that you desire. So I just will leave it up to you to, you know, paraphrase, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Do you understand the power of your thoughts? What is the power behind a thought? How can you find, how powerful a thought is? And go on there and figure out what are thoughts? What are some basic thoughts? What are the top 100,000 thoughts somebody has? I mean, they say we have hundreds of thousands of thoughts a day, so I'm pretty sure there's got to be some basis for people that don't understand how can I be more aware of my thoughts? Then do some simple research. What are thoughts? How can I change my thinking? You know what, or not only that, but like, what is your most experienced thought? What is the thought you pay most attention to on a daily basis? That's the thought that you most likely want to pay attention to and be aware of, because is it hindering, or is it actually pushing you? If it's pushing you, great. If it's hindering you, let's take a deeper look into this thought and why has it been a belief? Because the longer you think of it, the more you believe it. So that's what I have to share for today, my love. How about yourself?
Thank you, love. And just to kind of go a little bit more into what you said about our thoughts, because that is definitely a beautiful question that we should continually ask ourselves pretty much every day, kind of self-evaluate our thoughts. Because like you mentioned, definitely what we think about, that's what we're focusing on. Thus, that's what we start to attract. So like you mentioned, if we are thinking totally negative about how people are always doing me wrong, I'm never going to get ahead type of thing, that's what you're going to start to see and continually see in your experience. Whereas the person that always thinks that they're super lucky, like I am so lucky every day, something amazing happens to me, that's what they see in their reality. That's literally what you create. So that's where you vibrate as well. So, super, this chapter definitely had a lot of information altogether about that. And also mentioned how going back to selfishness, I think I said that right. um, that there is so much abundance that by you being selfish does not take away from anyone else's abundance. Like we all have that big cup of abundance flowing that can just like waterfall down on us. I don't even know how to, I just picture it in my head and I'm trying to get the words out, but it's not really coming. But we all have that abundance available to us to tap into 24/7. So by you tapping into your bowl of abundance does not take away from your neighbors or your kids or your husband or your mamas. No, none of that. So definitely tap into that and fill your bowl. And there's a beautiful sentence that I'm going to read from here. It says that the standard of success is absolutely the amount of joy you feel. So I just think that that's really, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people feel that success is all these trophies, But really, when you look at it, it's really the feeling of joy of that accomplishment that, oh my God, I really wanted this and you did it. You got it. Like you worked hard. You had all these thoughts and you concentrated, you worked for it. Like that's what you focused on, like day after day after day. And that's what you got. So I just think that that's a beautiful thing altogether. It's not really the actual manifestation in itself, but it's actually, I'm trying to see if I can find the actual sentence that says it even better than what I'm saying. All right, I'm going to just read it. Hopefully it's going to click. But the purpose of your life is joy. And that is why the main event has never been the manifestation. It has always been the way you feel in the moment. So boom, right there, just telling you. So thank you, Esther and Jerry, for this amazing book. Yeah, just really just reiterating that really it's about how we feel internally. So between the thoughts that we're telling ourselves, the things that we're focusing on, definitely, like Amber mentioned, take a look at what you're focusing on and what you're bringing about. It's not what other people are doing that are, you know what I mean? They're not the ones that are causing things to happen to you. It's you doing it to yourself. You cannot point the finger and say that it's because of this person because they didn't tie their shoelace and then they tripped and then they made you fall or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that's not a good example, but you get the point. You can't point the finger at others. You really have to look at yourself. So other than that, I know there's a lot more in here. I know there's a lot. This is a long chapter. So I really appreciate you, Amber, for coming out and doing this with me. And I really appreciate everyone that is on this journey with us and going through this book and rereading it and sharing it with others. Because honestly, I feel like this book, you can't just read it once. This is something that you're definitely going to have to read again and again and again as we evolve and start to unlock different vibrational levels. Because like I mentioned, you can't just leap into a higher vibration that you want. It's kind of something that you have to gradually jump into. And a lot of times people, because they really want to leap into this other vibration and they don't sustain it, they feel like that's why the law of attraction isn't working. It's just because, you know, there's just certain steps you have to kind of build that muscle and start to stay in this vibration for long enough rather than just like working on things for a day. So definitely want to hear some more of your comments, want to hear what you all have gotten from this beautiful chapter. And yeah, continue to share and continue to bring more people. We love the love that we're feeling from you all. So continue doing your thing and we're going to continue doing our thing. All right, we'll see you in the next chapter.